see what's there. Okay, so the next speaker I'm going to introduce is Mike Stanley, and he is representing the North Douglas Neighborhood Association, and he has been very much a participant in the Pell process, and has been, and maybe still is, the chair of the subcommittee of the Homeowners Association, Neighborhood Association for the second crossing process. Mike.
Thanks, everybody. I'll keep this fairly short. We're not scientists. We're residents, and so we have kind of very specific concerns about the crossing and the process that's been invoked here. But I'll just, just kind of summarize a little bit of what we've been up to, along with all the other groups. And I first want to just say a great round of applause to Matt and Ron and Frank Rue and Alex Wertheimer and the others with the Mendenhall Wetlands Study Group. They really have spearheaded this science-based analysis of the crossing project and serving as a, I wouldn't say a counterbalance really to kind of what's going on with the Dowell process, and trying to keep everybody honest as far as, okay, what are the scientific reality of a crossing? What is it going to mean? The North Douglas Neighborhood Association, just as an initial matter, I will just mention that back in the back room, we have a little table set up that our new president, Ellen Ferguson, is manning, and she's got some information on our group. The association's been a corporation since 2001. Mostly, we operate through different committees, and one of those committees is the Second Crossing Committee, and that's what I'm a chair of. We were involved fairly extensively in the 2005-2007 crossing debate, and have been quite involved in the PEL process. As I say, we're not scientists, but we do live on the refuge. Other than Sunny Point, we're the neighborhood that's mostly going to be affected by a crossing wherever it lands, if it does land. And the area that we represent in general is from the bridge to beyond Bayview. So it's quite a long stretch along the North Douglas Highway. And there, as you might imagine, there's a tremendous diversity of viewpoints about a crossing. And for that reason, we have really made it a point not to take a position on, one, should there be a crossing? And two, if there's going to be a crossing, where should it be located? So we've really always, in all of our comments, tried to be very clear about that. But there are certain points that we've tried to make that in this process. One is that if there is going to be a crossing, it really needs to avoid, minimize, and mitigate impacts to not only the refuge and the habitat values that it represents, but also to our neighborhood. There's a lot of things going on in North Douglas. I'm sure you've heard about them. And so we have been trying to get some sense of how all that fits together and how it's going to impact our neighborhood. And obviously, a second crossing will be a very big one. We've also, you'll hear more about this later, but we've continually advocated for keeping Salmon Creek as part of one of the alternatives that would move forward into NEPA review. That's not to say that we favor Salmon Creek, but it is the one alternative that is outside the refuge. Even the Mendenhall Peninsula crossing does cuts across the refuge in some portions. So we just feel like that Salmon Creek needs to stay in the mix for analysis in a NEPA process. And again, you'll hear more about that. And the final thing, and this is perhaps in some ways more important, is that if there is going to be a crossing, wherever it's located, it needs to be a structured crossing. It needs to be built on pilings. We cannot have another Egan Expressway with fill bisecting the refuge. It would that would really adversely affect the refuge and all the things that you're going to hear about, you've been hearing about, and that you're going to hear more about later. So those are the points we've continually made in our comments to whoever it is, whether it's the city borough or to Dowell or to ADF&G. And in that respect, I would, Matt mentioned the new Heart of Juneau website. I would draw your attention to the fact that we have now developed a new North Douglas Neighborhood Association website. There's information on it back at the table with Ellen, but it's www.northdouglasneighborhoodassociation.com. All lowercase, one word, no punctuation. And what you'll see if you go there is you'll see all the comments that we've submitted over the years, both in that 2005, 2007 period, and also in this PEL process. And you can begin to get an idea of what the residents of our area feel about this whole process. And I mean, I'd encourage you to take a look at it if you can. I guess the only other thing, and this is a little bit off topic, but the only other thing I would mention is that one of the things that we've really been pushing for in light of all the development that's been taking place or is planned to take place in North Douglas is for an area planning process. The city borough has done that for Lemon Creek, they did it for West Juneau, they did it for the waterfront. We've been asking for 2 decades. Let's have a planning process for North Douglas so that we can kind of guide development of our area, our neighborhood, and so things aren't just happening willy-nilly everywhere. You got the gondola, you've got the boat launch, you've got now this new zoning proposal that's surfaced, you've got all this other stuff that's happening. And so the neighborhood association, which has been kind of reconstituted with the new board of directors, they're going to be looking at those broader issues. The committee that I'm affiliated with is really focused just mainly on the second crossing and trying to bird dog that through the process. And hopefully we'll get to a final decision or a final report from Dowell one of these days. Everybody, I guess, can stay tuned for that. So that's really about all I have to say. I just, I guess the point being is that those of us who in the room who are residents of North Douglas understand the value of the wetlands and the refuge. We use it frequently. We watch the birds, we watch other critters in and about, we walk out there, we fish out there, we hunt out there. And so we have a very, I would say, very vested interest in seeing that if a project like this is going to go forward, that it's done so intelligently, it's done with the greatest effort toward minimizing adverse impacts to the refuge. So that's really about all I have to say, and I'll turn it back over to Matt.